Hi, everybody. Today I felt to speak about the heroine's journey. Now, a lot of people are familiar with the hero's journey, which are the universal stages that men go through in order to find their potential. And women also go through that journey because we're all masculine and feminine. But today I'm going to speak about the heroine's journey. And this is something that was mapped by Maureen Murdoch. And I know I've certainly lived it in my life. And why, being initiated into women's mysteries made all the difference. So when I was 21, for my 21st birthday, I received 2 copies of the book, The Prophet by Kahlil Gibran, a beautiful book of wisdom. And, it was as a 21-year-old that my spiritual journey began. I started reading self-help books, doing workshops, trying to make sense of the pain that was inside of me from my unresolved childhood wounds. But despite all this work, it wasn't until I started the heroine's journey that I really started to heal. And that's why I dedicated my life to then helping women with the heroine's journey. So what is the heroine's journey? Well, I'm going to share with you my screen so you can see an image of it on the screen. So here we see, she looks like she's power walking. So this is when a woman is operating out of her masculine side. And this is what, is rife in our culture, because we receive the conditioning constantly telling us that the feminine is weak or is not to be trusted or is, not taken seriously, not valued. And this comes to us from popular culture, from the media, from religious doctrines, from our parents, our community, church. It just goes on and on and on. So we're saturated with this message to the point where it becomes subconscious. We don't even realize that we are devaluing the feminine. And so, up until the age of 7, we all are operating out of the feminine side of us, which is the soul. Okay. And this is why you don't see many neurotic kids up until the age of 7. There's a freedom about them. They do what their inner self compels them to do, whether that's I'm going to make a mess with orange paint or I'm going to talk to that butterfly. They're just being authentic. Okay. And they have this innate relationship with the unseen realm. Okay. So that is, the other dimensions of existence where we have nature spirits, where we have the ancestors that have crossed over the veil, where we have angels. There's all of this multifaceted richness to life that the feminine acknowledges. All right. But in our modern day culture, which is the product of Rome, ancient Rome, and an empire that was committed to war that denigrated the feminine, we see today a lot of women are at best imitation men. Okay, so they might try to look feminine, but they're unconsciously trying to live up to the masculine's feminine ideal rather than being their own authentic woman. I'll give you an example. So a woman who's trying to be the perfect mother, okay, she might be trying to get approval from her husband from her family, even from her children, from society at large, because the critical masculine mind, okay, the ego, the rational self, has said a good mother must always be available, think of others before herself, always be kind. And so if a woman doesn't meet that criteria from her own rational mind, she is racked with mother guilt, okay? And she's striving to be the perfect mother, which of course does not exist. Another example would be if a woman is trying desperately to diet, to have the body that, she sees on Sports Illustrated or Playboy or Hollywood movies, or that is considered in her high school to be, the body shape that all the jocks want, So this is, again, she tries to construct a persona by, not just eating for nutrition and eating for the joy of sensate pleasure, but punishing herself, particularly if, her particular vessel doesn't match what the media tells her is acceptable and ideal. And so, again, we find women being hypercritical of themselves and punishing themselves from the critical masculine mind. Another distortion is how women view their sexuality as dirty or slutty, or as sinful. Or the other extreme is, seeing it as their total value and worth, that who they are as a woman is how sexually validated they are by others. And all of these are distortions of the feminine. They are not the true feminine. So here with the heroine's journey, we see the disempowered feminine who begins the journey, the one who looks like she's power walking. She is at war with the feminine within herself. She is in a state of separation from the feminine. So while she's in a female body, she is not comfortable with her cycle because she doesn't understand it. She may hate her soft feminine body. She may mistrust her sensitivities and her emotions. So on every level, physically, emotionally, mentally, and energetically, she is rejecting who she is, i.e., a woman. And why do we do that? Because we reject that which we don't understand. We can only embrace that which we understand. So really the issue is to heal our own ignorance. So a woman, when she's operating in this mindset of separation, she is constantly setting herself goals to prove that she's as good as any man, or that she can earn the validation of whether it's men or whether it's the external culture, society, which is the masculine. The inner is the feminine. So this leads women to overdo, to try and be perfect in all their roles. And that is exhausting and certainly not a recipe for happiness. And women that are disempowered, they will attract other women that are disempowered. So it's like the blind leading the blind. You can't break free of a limiting mindset if you're surrounded by people that have, swallowed the blue pill and see reality the way you do. Okay. So this is why you know, we get to a point where if the feminine is not alive in us, all right, we feel dead. We feel depressed. We feel anxious. We feel that what's the point of it all? And this leads to a sort of spiritual aridity, you know, where we're literally in the wasteland, we're in the desert, because we don't know who we are. And if we don't know who we are, we could be in the most divine environment, but not be able to truly enjoy it because of this inner war that's raging within us, this inner torment. And we project that onto our relationships, you know. So you can see halfway around the heroine's journey is dun, 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 initiation. That's the key word. And that is what has been missing from our culture for the last 4,000 to 5,000 years during the age of Aries and the age of Pisces, because the ancient initiations were outlawed and then they were feared and distorted. But without initiation, we don't receive the grail. We don't receive the insight that we need to make peace and settle the war within us, to reframe our thinking and our paradigm so that we can see ourselves and life in a different way, a way that is more cohesive and connected and peaceful. So you'll often find women have this yearning to connect with the feminine, but they don't have a language for it. They don't even know what it is that they're looking for. But, you know, there's you know, it's like a deep gnawing soul hunger for sisterhood, for soul fulfillment. And this is often what, you know, leads us to being initiated. And that's certainly what happened for me. You know, I was so disempowered as a young woman. I remember at 26, I was in love with my gay best friend, which you can imagine didn't work out very well. And, you know, I was living a really toxic lifestyle. I was smoking a lot of weed, smoking cigarettes, drinking a lot of champagne. And I was desperately trying to get validation through achieving. Okay, I really wanted to be famous and respected and wealthy. So, you know, if we're on that, like a ladder, it's like, oh, if I can only get this, then I'll be happy. That's a very masculine approach, and not even a healthy masculine approach. And it means that we never make the time to go within and to meet the feminine, because we're always, the focus is out there. I've got to be popular, or I've got to have the perfect body, or I've got to be a success at my job. So, and what I see as absolutely rife in our culture is this split between mother and daughter. And this was beautifully portrayed in the film Brave, the animated children's film. And this is something quite taboo that we don't really talk about in our culture. But when women go through puberty in a patriarchal culture, they often reject the mother in a very harsh way, because in a patriarchy, we have much higher, even unattainable standards for the mother than we do for the father, okay? Because we've been conditioned to not expect as much from the masculine, so that, you know, there's this double standard. And we see that double standard everywhere. You know, women are expected to do more unpaid work, or expected to work harder in order to get the same recognition that a man would get. There's just this, what would you say, this kind of double standard. And all of that is an external reflection of us being at war with the feminine within us. So rather than, take up placards and rah, angry out there, we can take our power back and heal the war with the feminine within ourselves. And every woman that does that is shifting the paradigm, because from that point, we make choices that are self-honoring. We won't stay in a relationship with someone who doesn't truly see us and accept all the aspects of us. For instance, as I'm filming this, I'm on my moon time, and you can see I'm in the hag mode. I'm not wearing makeup. My hair's just wild. And I'm like, feels good. Feels authentic. That's where I'm at. And I really relish that part of me. And I understand which part of the feminine multifaceted psyche is evoked by each stage of my cycle. So I can appreciate each facet rather than going, oh, I'm having a bad hair day, or I'm, just, I don't know, hating on myself, which is what I used to do as a younger woman before I understood the true feminine. So this being initiated into the true feminine, because every single aspect of the feminine, and there's 7 universal aspects that together comprise the feminine psyche, and we'll express those aspects differently, okay, each woman, but those aspects, each one of them has been distorted, okay? So when we're running a story that is not true, and it's then impacting our behavior, each one of those facets is disempowered. So it means that our life, each one of the aspects of our life that those facets govern, is also disempowered. So the good news is we can empower our life by simply going in and understanding how those archetypes, those psychological aspects have been distorted, and take our power back by understanding their true significance, their true strengths, their true lessons, their true mythos or heroine story. Because we need each one of those facets on board, for us to be fulfilled as a soul, because together they make up our soul. So rather than just trying to be the world's best mother, or really excel at your job, or be, a hottie, it's like one archetype will never make us happy, okay? And the more well-rounded we are, the more fulfilling our friendships are, because then we can attract people into our life who do really see all of us, because they've found those aspects in themselves. Sometimes you outgrow friends, and it's because they're not doing the work of personal growth. They're not investing time and energy in themselves. And so they kind of become a bit boring to be around, because they're just doing what it is the media tells them they should do in order to be happy. And they actually don't know who they are. And, to be with someone who's taken that road less traveled, who really has gone and met the different facets of themselves, they're really good company. So this is why, I love hanging out with sisters that have been initiated and have a language for these archetypes, because it means when you're hanging out together, your inner wild women can have you know, a cackle and be really free and liberated with each other. And then, you know, the inner mystic can have a conversation and feel really met on that level. And then you can have a conversation about strategy and about ideas, and your inner career woman can be met, and so on. So it creates, you know, what would you say, deep fulfillment in our relationships when we really understand the landscape of archetypes within us. And this helps us then to heal the masculine within ourselves. So instead of being the critical, you know, slave driver that's always honored us to lose weight, do more, achieve more, you know, we actually start to awaken the inner lover, which is the divine complement within us, the man who we hope to meet out there, okay? Or maybe if you're lesbian, the masculine dominant woman that you choose to meet out there, you know. But first we must dance with that within us. But if we're being run by this inner critic, we're going to attract relationships where we fall in love with people that don't see us or don't honor us. So this is why being initiated into understanding our foundation gender as women is the first step in us having really healthy relationships, because only then can we start to build a relationship between the healthy masculine and feminine within our own psyche. So I'll just stop sharing. Unfortunately, because I'm doing this from Zoom, I can't see questions in real time on Facebook to be able to answer them, but I will. If you've put questions in the chat, I'm happy to go in and have a bit of a, you know, respond to those. So I am initiating women as I do every year through the 7 feminine archetypes that together comprise our psyche. And this week, if you register, the early bird special is on, so you save $100 off. So that expires this Friday, February the, what will it be? I think the 19th. Yep. So yeah, I'll put a link below so you can check it out. But I will be mentoring you over 7 months, helping to empower each one of those 7 facets within your psyche and restoring the true feminine, okay, so that you don't judge yourself against these distorted beliefs around the feminine. And it also includes 7 live online circles with me. So every month we sit in sisterhood and we share the month that was from the perspective of that archetype, that feminine aspect that we journeyed that month. And you also get, you know, videos and articles and meditations and ceremonies. There's bathing rituals, and there's something to do each week. So we align it with the phases of the moon. And yeah, look, I've been initiating women through this for the last 25 years. And what's so gorgeous is to watch the true feminine return. You know, you see women that start off and they're wearing tailored clothes, they've got very short hair, you know, and you can see that the masculine is dominant. And then as we progress over the 7 months, you see, like watching, you know, life bloom in the desert, you can see that they start to soften and they start to come home to embracing their softness, their curves, their feelings and emotions, their cycle. And it's an absolute joy to witness. So yeah, if this is something that calls to you, or maybe it's something you'd like to share with your daughter or granddaughter, I mean, women of all ages, it's never too late to take this journey, but it really is life-changing, and it's what changed everything for me when I was 26. So I'm 50 now, and yeah, just absolutely thrilled to be um, helping as many women individuate from the patriarchal mindset of what it is to be a woman. So check it out. And if you've got questions, just put them below. Ciao for now.